This is the Reinforce Your Gym podcast with your host, Dustin Vogel. This show is about arming gym owners with the tools, strategies, and lessons they need to take their business to the next level. That way, they can make a greater impact in their community. Now, let's get to work and reinforce your gym.
Welcome, gym owners, to another episode of the Reinforce Your Gym podcast. I am continuing the Gold Nugget series with a special guest. You'll hear about his story. Really, the main thing that I wanted and I intended with this series is for you guys to see patterns of patterns. So what does that mean? A lot of the experts, they see patterns because they work with dozens, hundreds, thousands of gym owners, and they see things across them all where you don't. You probably just see what's happening in your gym. So if this expert works with hundreds of people and then another expert works with hundreds of people, collectively, we're bringing a lot of patterns to you guys so that you can then spot, like, what did the experts say that was like the same answer around a certain topic? If that many people said that, I should probably go and take action on it, right? So that's what I mean by patterns of patterns. So my special guest today grew OrangeTheory locations in a very tough market of New York to become $1 million locations. And, today he now helps other gym owners deploy what he did to make that mega success. And so he is the founder and CEO of RiseUp Innovations. Giuseppe Mellone, welcome to the show. Again, returning guest.
Grateful to be here, Dustin. Thanks, man. Pumped to share some really good gold nuggets for those who are paying attention. And
Yes.
This is going to be an episode that you don't want to miss for sure.
Good. So yes, that's your cue, guys. Get your Apple Notes out. If you're doing cardio, pause this. If you're driving, get to a place where you can take notes. We want these to be heavy tactics, but we got some good mindset for you guys as well. So Giuseppe, just for the people who do not know your story, I know I gave like a little teaser. Give them your background. Why should they listen to you?
Yeah. So as Dustin mentioned, I had grown a bunch of OrangeTheory studios, not just in New York City, but all over the Northeast. But even prior to that, I was just a gym rat who loved working out. And I think every gym owner relates to that. They love the exercise. They love the training. They love the mentality behind it because it really fuels who you are. It builds that self-confidence. It gives you that drive and that compassion for just life in general, because life is hard enough. Great way to exercise it, pun intended, is to work out. So being a meathead and a gym guy, I've always felt that the gym was home for me. And so even in college, I needed a gym membership for free because I couldn't afford it. So I worked at the gym, worked the front desk, learned that, loved the process of it, was able to grow the corporate ladder for a couple different brands, Town Sports International, a Crunch Fitness franchise, and then eventually ending up with OrangeTheory and being their director of ops for their Northeast, bringing in over $20 million of sales revenue with multiple locations and successfully driving that. And now we do that with our clients who are gym owners as well. Some of them are franchisees of OrangeTheory and other franchise brands you may know of, like Pure Barre, ISI Elite Training, Burn Boot Camp. And we also work with private owners to help them build the systems that require them to not only have a business that really flourishes, but allows them to be the owner and not just the operator. I think a lot of owners get caught up in the business so much and they don't know how to navigate removing themselves so much so that they can do bigger and better things with the business to help it grow. So we help them install the systems that I use because I couldn't be in 15 locations all at once. And it's been a really great journey and really exciting, and truly just grateful for the opportunity to be able to help these owners. So that's a little bit about me, man.
All right. Well, one thing that I think I want everyone to hear is that your systems, which we're going to get into in a sec, are multimodality. You work with yoga, you work with group training fitness, you have people who do personal training, and many markets. Because again, one trap I know a lot of gym owners can get stuck in is people are different here. And I want to challenge that and say, no, they're not. They're fat, they're unhappy, and they're in pain. And they want to lose weight. They want to feel better. They want more confidence. I work with gyms around the world, and people are the same everywhere. So get that out of your head. Now, maybe you want to package it a little differently to get in their inbox, get in their radar that like it's locally owned. People like supporting locally owned business, but like their goals and the ads that you can run, you do not need to have that mindset dragging you down. And so I just want Giuseppe, to be pointed out to be credible, multimodality, state, multi markets, and the systems are working. So with that, let's get into everyone's favorite topic and why they love the show is marketing, right? Client acquisition. However you want to take it, it's kind of open, approach, but like you're talking to a gym owner, they say, I need some more clients, let's not say they were saying I need more leads because we know that that could be a rabbit hole. Like they need more clients. What are you doing to help them get client acquisition and market to acquire those clients?
That's a great question. And I want to backpedal a little bit here to your point of every owner thinks that their market is different. One of our clients, they're in Michigan. And I remember when we first worked with them, we're talking about the things I'm about to mention here. And they're like, well, that's only going to work in New York City. And I said, well, just try it. And now they're producing 80 to 90K a month in monthly recurring revenue and absolutely growing because at the end of the day, the biggest thing to take away, especially in the marketing side, and I know you understand this, Dustin, is that it's simple. It's just not easy, right? There's simple things that come through this process. It's just not easy to always execute because there requires some nuances here and there. But in terms of getting clients, especially new clients, a lot of gyms believe that, like the 2016 days of put a bunch of ads out there, their direct offer ads, your free intro offer. And that at a time and a place worked because there was such more demand for fitness studios. Like the founding membership was something that was very iconic and very exclusive feeling. And now it feels like everybody every day is offering a founding membership. So if you're kind of reading between the lines of what I'm saying is that this idea of the exclusivity, the idea of the uniqueness in fitness studios has unfortunately become super saturated to the point where differentiating yourself and positioning yourself as the actual source for people who want to lose weight, feel better, it becomes a lot harder. And so one of the things that I've told a lot of my clients is you have to realize that people want to be a part of facilities that they understand what they stand for and what they stand against. So a lot of times there's many gyms that will post, I'm going to pick on OrangeTheory a little bit, but brag board photos where they're having the brag board of they completed 100 classes or, they have a team workout and everybody's there together and everyone thinks that that is a form of posting that's actually going to create buying decisions. And it's not. Yeah, you're showing community and that's great. But what you stand for is what's going to move people. One of our clients made a piece of content saying that they're not F45 and they're very different from OrangeTheory and they don't prescribe to that model, which has been a reel for them that's produced a lot of clients for them because they have seen people go, wow, I agree with what they're saying. I agree with their statement that they're making. So if you're a gym owner and you're really struggling on, hey, maybe I'm running ads, maybe you have a really great offer, it's just, your cost per lead is not where it needs to be, or you're just not getting enough of a show rate, and you're trying to nurture people to come into the studio, people have to know what you stand for and what you stand against. That's truly how you're going to be able to position yourself differently than the studios around the area, right? Every studio in your area, especially the franchising world, is we're fitness for everybody. We want everyone to be in the best shape possible. We want you to feel good about yourself. But what about talking about how strength is the most important thing that you can do? If you're a strength-based facility and that's what you do, then own it. The other part is don't chase the trends. So OrangeTheory is a heart rate-based facility. If you're an OrangeTheory franchisee or you focus on cardiovascular training, you should be going hard about why that's more important than Pilates. Why heart rate based training is the key ingredient that's missing for the people who are your future clients, and not that it's Pilates. And I'm not saying you need to necessarily bash on other modalities, but you do need to throw some rocks at some enemies because no one's going to follow any organization or any business without understanding where they stand. If you're too much in the middle, you're blending in like everybody. But when you say something that shows this is what we stand for and this is our mission and what we drive for, that creates so much more curiosity. And that gets a lot of the people who are looking at your socials who haven't raised their hands to begin to raise their hand. Like you'll start seeing comments. Our clients see it all the time where they have people commenting that they're like, we've had calls with these people and they never showed up, but now they're commenting on our posts and they're a little bit more interested. Well, it's because you found something that they resonate with and they feel like their identity can be a part of the studio. And that's really what people are looking for. I agree. They want to feel better. They want to look better. Everybody wants that. But at the end of the day, they want to have something that speaks to them, because once it does, then the consistency of showing up, feeling like you're part of the community, and obviously the byproduct as the workout results begin to really show themselves. So just to reiterate, if you're not focusing on what you stand for and what you stand against, you're just being a part of the same mass amount of postings and ads that are out there. But if you can do that, man, your positioning is going to look so much better, and people are going to really want to learn more about you and more about your organization instead of just what type of workouts you do.
So it sounds like, yeah, don't throw stones in a negative way, but you could just say, this is what we believe in and this is what we don't believe in. It doesn't mean you got to tear someone down. And if this aligns with you and you believe it too, now come in and check out our program. So there's like this identity match that you're looking for, rather than wrapping it all around an offer. Because I tend to find the go-to for a lot of gym owners that are like, just, I'll just say more beginner marketers, is they tend to just go with time. Come in for a good time of one free workout. Come in for a free week. You get 7 days, and you tend to see the go-to is time. How much time is the offer going to be? Do we give them 21 days, 6 weeks? And there's all this thought around time, and it's like, what is the messaging? What is the positioning? Who is the person that you're trying to speak to, right? And so, even you and I, we start a video saying, hey, gym owners, because we want that identity. And we might even call out if you're at 20,000 more revenue, because we want to like speak to a specific type of gym. And if you do group training, so you can even see like we're eating our own, kind of like advice here. So same thing to you guys. What do you want them to believe that you believe? Who is your ideal customer? There's probably thousands and millions of people that live in your area. You're not going to be able to service them all well. And I think that's like almost something you got to come to terms with, is you don't want to try to grab everyone, because chances are you can't service everyone well. Are you actually like gold standard good at serving kids and helping them win in sports, and middle-aged people to transform their body, and older adults to get strength training? Like, be honest, like, is your team skilled? Do you have systems in place? These are now more offers, more, systems you got to build. Like, get really good at your one avatar with one problem, and help them fix that, and just talk about that ad nauseum, right?
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of fear behind that. I think that comes from a mindset of scarcity, right? Like, oh, we need to get as many people through the door. We need to make sure we're growing our EFT and everything else. And that's understandable. But at the same time, the human mind cannot pixelate when you're marketing to a general audience.
Yes.
But when you're that specific, like the examples you gave, it's going to hit. I'll tell you a quick story. We were working with a wellness studio in North Carolina, and they had this problem. Their marketing just was not going where it needed to go. They weren't attracting the right leads. So I said, who is your favorite client? Out of all the clients you have, who's your favorite? And I think we're going to just call her Barbara. Okay. They said, Barbara. I go, who's Barbara? Barbara is in her mid 60s and she's going through cancer right now. It's like, okay, well, what do you love about Barbara? Barbara has got great energy. She always shows up, and she just loves being a good presence there. I was like, that's amazing. So what is the outcome that you've helped Barbara with? Well, Barbara doesn't take as many medications for her cancer treatment anymore, because they've been able to utilize all the stuff in the facility to help her out. So they made content talking about how if you're really struggling to get off certain types of medications because you're just tired of taking all these pills and feeling like a pharmacy in your body, and you want to actually be able to remove those things, we have these different things in our studio that'll help you. And the crazy part is, when they were speaking that way, they attracted, I think, 5 different leads, all different age groups, but with the common problem of, I want to get off the medication. And so when you become that specific, even though she's in her 60s and she's a cancer patient and all these different things, just talking about it that way actually resonates with more people, even if they don't exactly fit who you're talking to. Because you have people that aspire to be in the best shape of their life. You have people trying to maintain the shape that they have, and you have people who have, fallen off the wagon and are trying to come back. And a lot of those things all correlate with that directness in your marketing. So the messaging needs to be clear, and you need to dedicate, I would say commit to 60 days of just speaking to that one person in your marketing. And I promise you, you're going to see so many more leads coming in, more interactions, more people even complimenting your content. The members are going to start talking about, like, I really love what you're posted about this. It related to me and this story and yada, yada, yada. And that's just all market feedback for you to realize this is working. We got to double down on this because this is what's actually bringing people and creating influence to come in versus the generic, we have this going on today and this promo. Like those, you have to have a great offer. I think both of us can agree that the offer is really important, but the messaging behind the offer is what's going to get people to really flip that switch instead of always worrying about scarcity or urgency of the time frame and everything else.
I love it. And I think to your point, an easy trap to get trapped into is, like the wider we go, the more people we can capture. And I'll even say this, like, let's pretend you're going to go buy a BMW. Do you go to the general car lot that has all brands? They sell Fords, they sell Beamers, they sell, like everything, Hummers. And does that pop in your mind, or do you think BMW of your town, of Houston, of Chicago, right? Like you go to that dealer because immediately they solve one specific problem. When I need a Beamer, then same with a doctor. Do I go to my general? Even my mom recently, she's having back problems. She's like, I'm gonna go see my doctor. I'm like, but a general doctor is not well trained on your spine and your back. I'm like, you need to go see a chiropractor. Like, and then I referred her to my chiropractor. So our brains, to your point, we have a hard time. We're lazy. We need to be able to easily label. And I know we don't like to be put into a box and be labeled as Jim. We want to say we can help anybody and everybody, but then you make it harder for people to refer to you. Like, so like put yourself in the client's shoes. What is the exact sentence they say when your gym comes up? And if a problem does not come up, they just say, oh, the gym's great. They'll take good care of you. They're conveniently located. They got sessions in the morning, the evening. As the person receiving this message, my brain is having a hard time subscribing a label. I'm like, okay, but what do they help with? Like, that's great that they're on the corner of this and that and they have AM and PM, but what do they do? And so then my brain will just disregard the referral and I'll move on my day. So like, actually, that's what gives you the power. I want to be the best steakhouse. That does not mean I make Chinese food, Italian food, all these other things. Like, I make one thing great. I sell the Beamer. I fix your back. I sell steak. And then now someone can more easily refer because there's one problem that you are the category king of. But otherwise, you're at the risk of them just saying it's a great gym. And then your referrals will actually hurt and your marketing will be hurt as well. So,
yeah, well, let's take that one step further because you brought up BMW. Did you know that BMW and Rolls-Royce are owned by the same company?
I did not.
Yeah. And I forget the parent company, but there's a point to be made there. People who are buying BMWs are a specific demographic. Same thing with Rolls-Royces. That's why BMW doesn't have Rolls-Royce type vehicles in the BMW dealership because they understand that it is really hard to navigate multiple demographics within one business. So they have BMW and they have Rolls-Royce. Rolex has Rolex and Tudor, right? Toyota has Toyota and Lexus. They understand that in order to penetrate certain markets, they have to focus on one ICP, and that business needs to be in that one specific lane for that demographic. So just to add to your point and really bring that home more like on an operator side, because I think every gym owner hears this all the time, right? You got to be specific and everything else. Well, look at it from some of the biggest companies in the game. Like they understand that very well to make sure that they are building a business that's specific to one avenue.
Yes. Yeah, and a fitness example is F45 launched FS8, a Pilates
Oh,
brand.
yeah, that's right.
And so like to your point, like a Pilates person probably is not going to be as drawn to the hardcore workout of an F45. So like this is for our hit junkies, and then this is for our Pilates, princesses is what they call them. So
Yeah, I love that.
so like they're like, hey, they're gonna walk in and they're gonna have Louis Vuitton on their arm, and they're gonna have fat rings, and they're gonna drive up in a certain kind of car, and like the Pilates is just another flex. The build out has to be very aesthetic, the whole branding. Where F45, it's like smash, high achievers, it's probably like business owners, hardcore pushers, like they want to go do that. So it's like even they knew inside of creating a sister brand this is a whole different demo. We can't wrap this up in the F45 gift wrap. So
Correct.
great. All right. Well, let's move on to your next nugget, man. I think that was very valuable, and I'm glad that we, really went deep dive on it. Let's go retention. Now somebody wants to get better, especially summer. This could be a tough time for a lot of gyms. They'll get hit with freezes and cancels, especially if they're in a transient area, or it could be the opposite. You get a lot of visitors that are just there because they're vacationing. How do you help someone retain better? Like any kind of golden nuggets around that?
Yeah. Well, always remember that every conversation that you have with your members is a sales conversation. So if that principle is stuck into your mind, whether that's, an upsell to a higher level tier, adding supplements to that, right? Even downgrading them to a certain level so that it makes sense for them. You're always having a sales conversation because every day is a test of, is this worth it for me still? As much as your members love you and love your business, people are very emotional and they'll always be emotionally driven. And it just takes one incident where maybe in the back of their mind, they've been thinking, well, I'm going on vacation and, I might need to like cancel my membership. And then that one day where your coach is just not on the top level and they go to the front desk and say they need to cancel because they want to change different fitness routines, right? Or they're moving. And I don't know about you, but I don't see many moving trucks when I get those cancellations coming in of people moving, right? So the first thing is just recognize that every conversation you have, even especially on the freeze and the termination side, is always a sales conversation, which means you have to have a really good discovery, which ultimately means you have to know the people. You have to know where they're at. So a lot of studios talk about, follow-up calls, retention calls, doing that systematically. I think those are great. But if the calls are, how are things going? Are you enjoying the classes? Is there anything we could be doing for you? It's too generalized. But if the call was, Dustin, I know when you joined us a month ago that you were focused on losing 20 pounds of fat. How are things been progressing for you so far? And Dustin, you say they're going great. Things are really good. I actually am getting ready for a vacation right now. And, I don't know what I really need to do. Should I freeze? All of a sudden, they're asking you, should I freeze? Should I cancel? And so this is a way for us to get a little bit ahead of that situation and say, hey, look, tell me what's going on with your life right now, where you're going. And then depending on the situation, you have to make the right call. We cancel memberships. We don't cancel relationships. And especially in the summertime, it's inevitable that some people, it just doesn't make sense, right? If you have a freeze, I know some studios don't have freezes, which I always encourage to have a freeze because that locks in that agreement. And so in case you do price increasing, they can keep at that rate. But if people are just not going to be in town and they're not going to be around and they're going to be gone for a long period of time, no, we're not going to collect the money from them. That's not the right thing to do. But we can post date the next activation that comes up, right? And I think that's really key in terms of retention is if you can really show that you care and really show that you're willing to work with people and you're not coming off of a front of this is a sales conversation for me to get you to stay, but I want to learn how your progress is because I understand what you're going through and want to make sure we're doing it right in a very specific detail, then that conversation is going to potentially be a cancellation save, a freeze option, downgrade option, but it always comes down to what is the best for the client. And many gym owners who are listening to this might be saying, well, I don't know if I have the time to do that, right? I'll tell you this. I had an 800 member studio in Brooklyn. We had no problem doing it. There's a reason why we're 800 members. And there was a reason why we had really significant growth there was because every member, we had documentation from when they joined of what their goals were and what they were trying to do. And so when we did the follow-up, and this kind of bleeds into some of the systems that we use for our clients, it was so simple for the front desk to just reach out, see exactly what was going on, and be able to address them. Even if they've never talked to that person before, like it's super powerful to feel like, wow, this studio actually cares about me and where I'm at right now and where I want to go. And I think in terms of retention, that principle is a major principle to understand, which is why I'm a firm believer of sales training every day. Every day needs to be a form of sales training.
Gym owners, I don't want you to have the reputation in town as the gym that doesn't call people back, all right? We know it's critical when someone's finally made a decision to get healthy and fit that we get to them as quickly as possible. This can be solved by plugging in our remote sales reps, okay? It's not AI, it's not a bot, it's a real human that's working on your leads, the new ones that come in from your ads and the old leads in your database. And they're there to qualify the leads, to ask them discovery questions and to make sure they're a good fit. And then their job is to move them forward in your sales process so that you get more members month over month. All right, if you want to learn about our remote sales reps, go ahead and go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call, and we'll tell you more about it. See you then. So lots of connection, lots of, check-ins. Like, I think they can feel it when you don't do this, and then you crank it up during the summer or the winter, and they're like, whoa, you only seem to care when I submit it for a freeze or a cancel. And so like, one, train of thought is to do like a 90-day goals check-in.
Yes.
If you looked at it with, I say in fitness, we tend to have two types of like hats or brains. We tend to have our personal trainer hat. We tend to have our class and boot camp kind of hat. And so like your trainer, you would absolutely, if you put that hat on, every client has goals. You're trending towards those goals. You're tracking them. You're holding them major accountable. And then when we put on our class hat, it's all about like the hype, the energy, the playlist, the show, the experience. And we don't really pay a lot of attention to the goals because we can think that there's too many people and they're going to get lost in the sauce. But if I'm a trainer and I do 1-to-1 or 1-to-4, I don't miss anybody, right? So that's what I found is like, how can you take that personal trainer mindset and bring it into group that everyone does have a goal and everyone is being checked on. Everyone has an assigned coach that like cares about them. And like those are the types of things that make it way more sticky. And then you don't have that retention turnover. Or, you are mindful of like, hey, in today's world, people are very flexibility minded, and they want gyms that offer freezes or an easy cancellation. And so you got to decide, am I going to not be the gym that allows these things and I'm going to stick to that and have a different like flavor and brand around my gym that we don't do those things here? Or am I going to lean more towards flexibility and kind of meet people where they are and, just have good systems to get them back? We would put people on freeze, but we'd say it's 30 days. On this date, your billing restarts. We're not like reaching out to you to ask permission. It's just like it is a full 30, where a lot of gyms will let that bleed to 2-3 months because they want to hear from the client you're okay to come back and restart billing. But like you have to hold people, accountable, whatever your system is. You got to stick to it. Where the mess is, you kind of let the client guide you on what we're going to do. And you don't have a system and they're calling the shots. And then the team's confused because like, well, the owner's wishy-washy. Sometimes they stick to the policy, sometimes they don't. And like, what do I do? And so that's where a lot of messes are made, right?
Yeah, those backdoor deals, right? You try to make something work for somebody. And look, another thing I'll add too is either you yourself, if you're the owner that's daily in the operations, or you have a manager, someone's got to be the mayor of the town. And the rule of thumb is when, OrangeTheory has a lobby and a lobby intro, and so there's a lot of people hanging out there. Anyone who's sitting by themselves, quiet alone, is your next cancellation. They're just looking for a reason, and that's your opportunity to be the mayor. If you have towel service, have the towel rolled, go up to them, and if you've never met them before, introduce yourself. How are things going? I still remember I traveled to one of my studios was in State College, and so I was there for a couple of days. And I was doing check-in with the staff, and we saw somebody coming from a New York studio, and I was like, oh, it's one of my other studios. And so I pulled her aside. I said, Ashley, it's good to meet you. My name's Giuseppe. I'm the regional director. You probably never seen me before, but I work with the other studios and everything else, and I'm just grateful you're here. And we got to talk a little bit about, what's going on with her, and all of a sudden she started bawling and crying. And I was like, what is going on? And she was going through a rough patch. She was actually there for a funeral. And she's like, I just need to get her work in to like clear her mind. But she was really grateful that she spoke to somebody because she didn't know anybody in the studio. And that little small detail is the positioning that makes you different than everybody else who has a crazy promo offer. And that's what members remember. They remember those little moments when things are like, oh, this isn't good, or, it's summertime, the HVAC unit breaks, right? Oh, the studio is so hot. But then they remember what you've done for them and how you've constantly been doing that. And they have your back in those downtimes, because there's going to be situations you don't have control. And in those situations, you want to make sure that, yeah, those retentions and those systems are set up so that you're not waking the sleeping bear, right? You're proactive in the approach, and things are set up for success, where almost the energy is, hey, like, we're here for you. We understand where you're at. We want to provide support. Tell us what you think is the best. We'll give you our best opinion of what to go with, and make sure that we meet somewhere that works best for you and your fitness goals. So 100%, Dustin.
Yeah. And I think it's arming the team with just like, sometimes if they're not good with conversation, you just can give them some like easy go-tos, right? So one of my favorite brands that I study is Trader Joe's. I don't know if they're like completely nationwide. Okay, you got them.
Oh yeah, we're going to Trader Joe's right after this podcast.
Okay. So what they train their team is no person could come in and not get engagement from the staff of at least 2 questions. And everybody goes with the default, how are you doing? And we kind of do the default reply, good, how about you? Yeah, all right. And then thanks for coming. Yeah, you bet. And then it's like, our brains register that as very plain, ordinary, and not, standing out. They say, what do you got going on the rest of the day? And that's because it cannot be answered with a yes, no answer. You have to tell a story. Like, oh, well, I got a dentist appointment, and, I'm picking up the kids, and I'm off to the gym. So someone in a gym could say that too. You could kind of just learn what's going on outside the gym in their life. Like, oh, after this, I got that. And then tonight I got this going on, and my kid. And that's how you learn about people's lives, and not just thinking about fitness and workout, right? So it's just like, what do you got going on the rest of the day? And then the second one, when I did want exercise feedback and just talking more fitness, was I said, hey, what's your favorite exercise that we've been programming lately? And what's your least favorite? Which one do you hate? And so it's like, it was usually some form of like a leg exercise. Most people like, a glute bridge and, whatever, squats, like those, plyos. And then I love when we do this. And then guess what? As we kept hearing patterns, we'd bring that to the team that was programming. Like, hey, more of this, less of that. Like, at some point you got to do some of it. Like, clients usually don't love mobility and stretching and things. And it's like, we're not going to cut that out. But these are the things that those kind of conversation openers. So like giving your team canned conversation openers, that it's okay if they even ask them every single day. It's just like, hey, what should I say, rather than how's your day going and thanks for coming, goodbye. Literally give them templated questions, right?
I think there's 2 really important things that you said that just need to be very clear for anyone who's listening to this, because those are super, like, those 2 things that you said can easily grow the business so fast. One, asking questions without a yes or no answer. That is such a key thing, right? Yes. How's the fitness journey going, right? Like, just as simple as that. All those different things are huge. And the second one, which is understandable why it happens, but once you hear this now on this podcast, you have to make a commitment to never let this happen again, is taking the feedback. Actually listening to the feedback and bringing it back to the team. We have so many conversations, and to your point, like, if the questions are structured in a way where it's not so redundant, our minds won't go through the motions, right? And usually we go through the motions. If we're not going through the motions and we're actually actively listening and we hear those patterns and we bring it to the team, there's no reason why you shouldn't find a solution to help yourself out. But those 2 things alone, you take that today, no reason why you can't grow a little bit more and retain more people. Those are huge, Dustin.
Love it. All right. Well, let's go to our third nugget, which is LTV, lifetime value. Like, this could be keeping clients longer, making them pay more per month. Like, what is one of your favorite, I guess, tactics around that, Giuseppe?
Yeah. I love benchmarks, and I love mini goals within the bigger goal. So anything that we can do, like one of our clients, we're setting up, we call it the summer rush, where it's similar to a 8-week type challenge, but it's a summer challenge. And so during the summertime, for those who are going to be here, you have to complete X amount of workouts. You have to mark up, you have to show up at a minimum amount of times, and the winner wins a cash prize and a really cool trophy at the happy hour celebration. Nice. Like, doing these little things, even something simple, and this is why OrangeTheory had been the top for a long period of time. They have the 12-minute run for distance, the 1 mile benchmark, the 1,000 meter row, the 500 meter row, the infinity workout, dry try, like all these different little things that happen within the experience force people to revitalize themselves and go, oh, I'm excited. I don't want to have FOMO. I want to come back and do something like this. And if the team is really excited about it, then the energy's there. On top of that, you can make a little extra money off of that, right? If those events that you're hosting, you charge a $25 fee, those fees can pay for, the rewards or the marketing that you're going to do for it and everything else. But it keeps the engine going. Nobody's just like in the fitness studio world. Nobody is joining just to walk in and do a workout. If you're working at Crunch Fitness, right, or a big box gym, it's a little bit different, right? Everybody's kind of focused on their own thing. They're doing their own thing, or they're working with a personal trainer. They're very intuitive in their own way. But when you're doing a group fitness environment, it's like people show up for the classes. Yes, they're focusing on their own things, but sometimes they lose that motivation just to do those same workouts. And having something like a really cool event or a really cool benchmark opportunity forces them to be re-engaged again and really excited and want to participate. Plus, like the Summer Rush option, like we require you have to do 3 workouts a week. So if you have a middle tier membership, which most studios have a 4, 8, and unlimited, I'm hearing some of them have 12 sessions now, but it's usually like 4, 8, and unlimited. If you're doing 8 sessions a month, you can't necessarily participate in that challenge. So what does that do? Forces them to upgrade. So now you have an upsell, getting somebody into the challenge and increasing their LTV over time because now they're being more participating in it and increasing it a lot longer versus maybe that month or two they were thinking of pulling back or, hey, like I think I'm over this type of thing. So the key ingredient is just creating excitement within the business, but keeping it tangible. Tangible outcomes are super important for people. If people are hitting weight goals, like it's really hard to base things on a weight goal or, we used to do things with in-body scans and everything else. And, the one part that we don't really have control over is how people act outside the studio. We don't know what their nutrition's like, their sleep, their diet, everything else. But if we can do something that is trackable in studio, like I said earlier, like the 500-meter row and the time for that or your 12-minute run, there's these different things that we can actually control and see within ourselves. And then we can help prescribe them to improve or, hey, like you crush this, next time do this. And now it's just another thing added where they're excited to do this more and more and more. And it just revitalizes them. So that's one thing I would give that every studio should really be focusing on doing. One of our clients, Fusion, they do a charity run. Their whole theme is, they help their local area become Fusion athletes. Their name is Fusion Integrated Training, so they have Fusion athletes. And they do something called the Fusion Warrior Run. It's a charity event for the community that all the members get to be participating in. They give donations, everything else, and it's such a big event that everybody gets excited for it. So I think really thinking about those things is going to help keep people in for the long term and grow the brand. Plus, they're going to be more proud of being that brand. How excited are you to brag to your husband and your wife that you did this 100-meter row or these distance and times and showing your buddies like, I've been crushing it at this studio. Then the referrals come in a lot easier and everything else. So that would be my one big golden nugget is think about what your modality is and think about what can be done within that in terms of benchmarks, in terms of certain goals, certain challenges that you can do. And you can monetize those challenges as well if you're really good about it, which helps you just get a little bit more of that revenue, especially in those consolidating months, because that's business. If anyone tells you there's months that are supposed to be always up, they've never ran a business in their life. There's just going to be periods of time where things consolidate, but this is a way to navigate that process and be able to retain more people.
I love it. And so what I would, I call these member challenges at my gym, like things to keep people engaged, and they weren't always fat loss. They could be a fitness event, could be high rocks. It's funny you brought up the dry try. My wife is an OTF member. She loves the dry try. Like,
there you go.
And so it's just people get motivated by progress. And what do you do when the fat loss is done? I need to see progress then. Usually it's in performance or strength, right? And so then you need a measurable way, because it's easy to measure weight loss and body fat percentage. And what do we do when I'm at my goal weight? now what are we tracking, right? It's like you've improved your mile run, you've improved your high rocks time, you've improved your lift on your chest press. Like these are things that get people excited then. And a person without a goal, I always say, is like a rudderless ship without a North Star. And
Yeah.
then the boat's just going in a circle, right? And so it's like you need the rudder. The North Star is the goal. The rudder is your coach keeping you on track, right? And so I would meet with my team, and every quarter I would just kind of play that song. Let's give them something to talk about, because it was like, hey, we need the members to be talking about something. And so this is kind of the life cycle. It's like 3 weeks of promoting, then it was like 4 to 6 weeks of training, then the event happens, and then there's 2 weeks of asking for referrals. Because now after they did it, we want them posting about it, we want them telling their friends, hey, I just did this dry try, it was so much fun, I just did high rocks. Now you should come join me because the next quarterly event is X. And so like that was like the whole like campaign, right? And so that's kind of where we put our hats on, is like, what are we going to get them to talk about? First, they're going to do it themselves, then they're going to get great results, and then they're going to talk to other people about it. We want them talking about this. Let's make it great. Let's put a lot of energy into one good member challenge a quarter and make it so that the clients remark on it, right? So I love that, because I do know we monetize that. And if you just take what a member is paying and they pay the same amount month to month for 12 months and it's just flat, but then once a quarter, it's selling gear, that goes with the a member challenge. There's this event that they got to pay a registration fee. Like you get these quarterly little boosts. Now what their total annual lifetime value is way higher. So
Yeah.
really
I like
smart.
to I like to tell our clients that, look, average memberships are usually around 3 months if no systems are really applied and there's none of the things that we're really talking about. But if we can add 3 more months, and the average cost is usually around $169 a month, that client is now worth $1,000. Every enrollment you have is worth $1,000 to you. And so just realizing that, I think for me, especially when I was operating, when I was thinking that way, it made me more motivated to think about these events and these ideas. Because I do think a lot of gym owners, especially if you're hovering around that 30K a month mark, you're in this weird transition period of you have a team, but you've been kind of doing everything yourself and you're trying to navigate out of it. And it can be really hard to really start thinking about these ideas, especially if your nervous system is completely shot. But if you can see that every enrollment you do, if you can just increase it to 6 months, right? It's worth so much more to you that you won't have to work as hard on the front end in getting more EFT. Like you'll have that success within that. So 100%, Dustin.
Love it. Well, I'm going to switch gears. Thanks for those three golden nuggets. Again, gym owners, if you didn't write those down, rewind this episode, go back. And then the best thing you can do is then take action on them. Don't just listen to the ear candy and then move to your next podcast episode. Really stop. More consumption is not better. I find that's what a lot of people are doing these days. Over consuming content and under doing action, right?
Yes.
So rapid fire questions. I'm going to just go through a few, lightning round type of thing with
Love
you.
it. Let's do it.
So what is one belief that most gym owners need to eliminate?
That they have to do everything.
I love that.
They have to do everything. Do you want me to explain these or you just
Yeah,
like
I
answer?
mean, yeah, it
I
doesn't.
mean, just in short, if you're building a business and you want to build it at scale, you have to trust your team. And the scary part is that you're not going to know everything that's happening in your business. That's a reality. There's going to be situations that happen you're not there for. You're not going to have all the full context. That's why you need to hire people that meet your standards, right? If they rise to your standards and your beliefs and what you stand for, funny how that works in the marketing sector for getting clients, right? For what you stand for, it's the same thing how we attract really good employees for us. You have to be able to trust them. And so you don't have to be in control of everything. If you have a good team and they're set up for success and they have the systems in place, all you need to be doing is just approving of things, proving or disapproving. Hey, Giuseppe, we want to do this. Here are my 3 solutions. I like to do this like 1-3-1 rule. I learned this when I was mentored from Dan Martell. 1 question, 3 solutions, 1 answer. So what's the 1 question problem? What are the 3 solutions they're bringing to you? And then what's the 1 thing that you decide as the owner is the action that they should take? You do that, you don't need as much control as you think of your business, and you got to let the teams really build that for you.
All right. I love it. So next one would be, um, what is one boring habit that separates your best client gym owners from your, struggling client gym owners?
Outreach.
Mhm.
Outreach. Listen, I know we live in a day where we want to find ways to create more inbound traffic. And yeah, the more inbound traffic we can create on great offers and great marketing, I really do believe that the better the marketing, the easier the sale is. But nothing beats doing volume of outreach. Just doesn't. And yeah, it's tedious and it takes a lot of time and there's a lot of rejection involved in it. But that's the difference between you making 20 additional membership sales and you not getting any membership sales for the month because you're waiting for things to come to you or your team isn't doing the outreach. I believe every studio should be doing at least 100 outreaches per day to build that volume up. And it's tedious and it's boring, but man, if you're doing it, it's really hard to fail because you'll get so much feedback from the market of what's working and what's not. What are the things that are actually
Yes.
getting people to respond? And you could apply that into your marketing messaging as well.
Love it. And if you were gonna, let's say, start a new gym, Giuseppe just got the itch. He's like, damn it, I gotta get my hands dirty. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna open a gym. And he's got to get from 0 to 30K in 12 months, which is not an easy feat. Tell me the model you would go with, your pricing on your membership, and what would you grand open with to like flood the gym as much as possible.
Ooh, I
Yeah.
like this. So, um, I would go with a strength-based model.
Mhm.
Not because it's the trend right now, it's because it's what I believe in personally. I love strength training, it's my passion. So I have to do a model that I'm actually passionate about.
Yes.
So it'd be strength training. We would focus on, I mean, the pricing would be, we would only really have two options. We'd have like an 8 session a month and an unlimited a month because I don't believe in 4 sessions a month. It would be the middle tier would probably be $180 a month. The top tier would be closer to, that 200 mark.
Mm.
Only because that pricing will separate me from specific markets. I know that, oh, you got to look at the market and what they price and all that stuff. Well, positioning myself as a little bit of a higher purchase is a way for me to separate, right? And then for the grand opening, all I would focus on is a 30-day challenge. So we'll do a 30-day challenge where you invest on an unlimited membership. And then in 30 days, if you do at least 16 workouts, you can win your money back. And
Mm.
so instead of, I think the money back guarantee, it's a very popular one and it does work because it lowers the risk. But I like the idea of winning your money back because it creates this competitive edge. Again, strength training, strength people are usually very competitive. So if we can do that, and then you're doing 16 workouts within 30 days and you're showing up every single time, I'll give you your money back if you don't want to continue. But you know what's going to happen? They're going to want to continue. So hey, we'll credit your next month with this, and we'll
Love it.
keep you on this plan, and we keep growing it from there. And then all I would be focusing on in the first month with those people is not so much A/B transformations because it's 30 days. You're not going to see the biggest results ever,
Yeah.
but the stories of what we've done. So,
Mm.
where were you before we opened up? I was struggling with this. I was struggling with that. I was going to this gym, all those different things. Now that you found us, what was something that you really love about this place? And then all I would be doing in my marketing is just using that and filming those things like little mini mic interviews, and all of them are just retargeting ads to the people that I have flooded for the attention that I have done, so that when people are doom scrolling on Instagram, they're seeing all the social proof of different ages, different genders, different backgrounds, because somebody's going to resonate with somebody and then it's going to hit. And I would just focus on that and pump that as much as I possibly can, keep growing the studio from there, and then adding benchmark opportunities, right, to increase the upsell. So we're starting to get the revenue in. We're starting to add memberships. We're looking at 3 to 5 memberships per day. That's my target always, even in my studios. So we keep going it from there, and then just finding little opportunities to upsell. Maybe even if we have enough of a big demand, investing in a high rock submission for the studio and saying, hey, we're going to have a studio team specifically for high rocks. If you don't have a partner or a friend, any of the members that are participating and signing up for this can be your partner. And then we're all together doing that. And it's just like this, I'm going to say it's like a cult. Like we're building this really cult-like energy going into high rocks. And then for us, like we'll have the high rock stuff, but it'll be our branded stuff too. And that's free brand marketing at high rocks in a local area where other people may have not heard of us yet. And they can start talking and seeing the connection that everybody has and really bringing that together and really emphasizing, we stand for strength training. We think that Pilates is stupid. You don't need to do that. Like I'm all about throwing rocks and being a little mean about it just because I love that idea of people hating on the fact that you don't like something, which means there's a lot of people who love it. And you can find those people. And then when the branding comes out and we have the retail marketing and people are going out to the space, it's no longer, oh, this is a gym that they go to. It's they go to Giuseppe's gym. I know what their values are about. I know what they stand for. I know how they think. We may have different careers, different life choices, but there's a same mentality. And that's why they belong to Giuseppe's gym.
Yeah.
So I would say that.
Right.
Did I answer all those questions?
Yeah, that was perfect.
Cool.
Again, it's just kind of a fun exercise to go through. Is like there's a lot of like you should do this, you should do that, but I think the ultimate litmus test is like what would you do yourself?
Yeah.
Like, and so when you're coaching another gym owner, a lot of times people will say, "Oh, it's easy for you to say you're not opening this gym." It's like, all right, let's pick their brain. What if they were going to open a gym, right?
If I had a nickel every time I was asked that question.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Well, yes, we'll kind of get to the final part here, which is allowing you to just plug your stuff, like whatever you got going on, whatever you want to point people to. If you have any projects or social media accounts, like tell them what you got going on if people want to get more closer to you and working with you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, listen, if you've listened to this podcast all the way through, my Instagram is at Giuseppe.a.Mellone. Just message me Dustin-2. And I will send you my magnetic marketing blueprint. It's what we give all of our clients to help them really organize their social media and what frameworks really pull people into persuasive decisions versus just posting just to post. So you can get that completely for free. Just make sure you message me that. And I am the only one on my Instagram. So you'll be chatting with me. I'll make sure that's sent to you. Right now, look, we don't take a lot of people on. We're very particular with who we work with. If you're an owner that's, at that 30K a month mark and you're really just trying to build a team and really install systems so that you can start removing yourself and you believe in what you're doing and you understand the importance of teamwork and understand the importance of being an active operator while also getting your time back, then we have a place for you. If you're someone who's looking kind of for a turnkey operation, I really can't help you there. I just don't believe that everything is a turnkey operation. It depends on circumstance and, equity of who's got what and everything else. But for most of you guys who are just really passionate about helping change lives, but really building a team that works for you, because I imagine you built your studio to have freedom and change lives, not to be a slave to it and have a designated job for 14 hours a day, then feel free to message me too. We'll see if you're a fit. If you're a fit, we could show you what we do and how we help our clients. If not, I can definitely just point you in the right direction to make sure that you get the results that you need. Other than that, man, we're just crushing and having a great summer and having some fun.
Good, good. Yeah, I love that because I think that's a good frame for a lot of gym owners that have broken is that summer has to be slow, which it is not. And I see that you guys are getting some mega success for gym owners, which is always a reminder that it comes down to mindset, right? Like, in my opinion, you either can find a way or you can find an excuse. And we're really good at finding excuses. So it's retraining your brain to say there has to be a way to do this, right? And so find the people that are doing it and just copy their playbook, right?
And this is, and just to add to that, Dustin, because I think this is important too. If you're really passionate about this and this is what you want to do not quit. Don't do it. There's going to be moments, Dustin and I have had conversations about, certain people that we've worked with in business and everything else. And, business will break you. It will destroy you. And you could be someone who's disciplined and everything else. I remember the pandemic. I think we all remember the pandemic. And that was a really rough time. I have a client right now who's got forced out of her location in New York City, and she's got to move and find a whole different lease. And she has a pop-up for right now. But like, you cannot quit. If you quit, you will lose all the time. Do not quit. As Dustin said, you have to have the mindset of there is a way, because there's somebody out there that's doing exactly what you want to do, and they're doing it very successfully. And you have to realize that the only difference between you and that person is the mindset. Do not quit.
Love it. All right, guys, we'll let you get out of here. Thanks for listening, and screenshot the episode of today and tag me and Giuseppe on it. Tell us what your biggest takeaway is. We'd love to hear that back, and we'll see you guys next week. Later.
Yes, sir.
Hey, gym owners, let's face it, you probably don't love digital marketing. You probably don't want to go into Facebook and load the ad up and think of ad copy and creatives and optimize it daily. Well, hand that over to me and my team, because we're geeks about marketing and we want to flood your gym with new members so you can change their life. Let us do what we do best. All right, go to gymreinforcements.com, book a call. Don't bring the credit card. It's not a hard pitch. It's just a conversation to see if we're a good fit. Talk soon.